high-frequency auroral research program that was introduced in 1993. This HARP project directs a 3.6 megawatt signal in the 2.8 to 10 megahertz region of the high-frequency band into the ionosphere. 12 by 5 arrays units that occupy a rectangle of about 30 to 40 acres makes up of about 180 antennas in totality of the whole project. This specific HARP research facility was designed only to shoot directly upwards for an altitude at about 43 to 270 miles above the antennas. This facility consists of 5 diesel generators that each one of them generates 2,500 watts, which makes it a whopping 12,500 watts in total power. Moving on to another type of directed energy weapon system. This is more of a beam and a straight shot that could burn airplanes out of the skies without even knowing that they were torched by this device. So this device is a perfect device to start a war and make an excuse for somebody else that might have done it. If done correctly, no traces are left when you shoot an airplane down or you blow up a gasoline depot. These type of military weapons are weapons that China have a hold of, the Russians, the Americans, Venezuelans, Argentina, whatever. It's a long list of people that have all these type of weapons. Moving on from military weapons to military equipment, which is what is categorized under. These are active denial system Humvees that has microwave antennas on top of the vehicles, which these devices runs around like 1.2 megawatts to 3.2 megawatts to up to however much the government wants to spend and make it maybe 10 megawatts on wheels mobile. Now this is the SBX-1. Sea-based X-band radar. This radar is designed to detect a beach ball 3,000 miles from its location. To put into perspective how much 3,000 miles is, Hawaii is in the middle of our giant ocean called the Pacific Ocean. The distance between Hawaii to California is only about 2,000 miles. Designed to only move at 10 miles per hour because of its massive size, it still is crazy that it is possible that it is a mobile platform. SBX-1 has a power capacity of 21.6 megawatts. To put this into perspective, this power can give electricity to 8,760 houses. This SBX-1 is located now at Pearl Harbor, or at least its last location was. If you go to marinetraffic.com, you can get last location from the vessel. This vessel's location was recorded in Hawaii, Honolulu, Pearl Harbor, March 23rd, 12 p.m. Here I can show you a perfect example of what an estimate would have looked like if I've placed it on Google Earth and just traveled straight forward from Lahaina to Pearl Harbor. There's the spot where I mark where the SBX-1 could be. Then I go back and I zoom back in and I will show you perfectly how this could have been done. So this is pretty much confirmed that the SBX-1 had direct line of sight. Going back to directed energy weapons, the concept of the weapon stays the same from the start to the end. I will put this in simple terms so that everyone can understand it. The bigger the radar that is carrying the power, the bigger the area you can heat up. The more wattage you pump through this antenna, the more heat you can produce in a specific area. This SBX-1, to put in simple terms, has a microwave antenna that could be redirected and turned on its x-axis. This is actually an insanely omnidirectional satellite dish. Because of its massive size, it takes a while for it to turn. This can be pointed in a specific direction, and this is an assumption, but I think it also could be elevated and dropped regarding its location. There are fake news going around that the fires were started by Chinese drones. With this device, 2,000 miles in range, it could have put a 20 megawatts of power into a small focus beam. This would have rendered the drone vaporized. Now let's recap these military equipment / devices. You have the 1993 radio antennas that were focused directly above to heat up the aurora above these antennas. You have a directed smaller beam designed military weapon that could put a hole through an airplane and shut it down. Active denial system can produce an XYZ vector of a vertical wall of heat that could heat up people's skin when they come into range. So I have to ask myself this, Could you have a giant radar, which is basically the same concept, to produce an XYZ rectangular 5 miles cubic meter area that could heat up all this area all at once? If this is true, what happens when you heat up an area and it gets massive temperature exchange with local temperatures at the moment? Do you know what happens when there are massive heat exchange at a certain points and a certain location? You get heavy gusts of winds. Did Lahaina have heavy gusts of winds? Yes, it did. Did California wildfire have heavy gusts of winds? Yes, it did. These winds are very difficult to be produced with simple wildfire. Did we see similarities of what happened in California and Lahaina all at once? I did. After analyzing plenty of videos of both situations, the fires reached the beach all the way up to the sandy-white area and burned up the boats on the water. This happened in both scenarios except there were no boats in California. But basically, the fire reached the white sand. Car engines' aluminum rims were melted, which need a constant heat of 606 degrees Celsius up to 1200 degrees Celsius. This actually happened in both areas. To speculate a bit on the topic, because this is what elites do every time they plan their big move to screw the public once again, could this be that Jeff Bezos and Oprah Winfrey, or simply NATO/US military, work together to wipe out Lahaina, and specifically its people, off the map, just for Jeff Bezos to come in and pay $100 million to rebuild Lahaina? Wow, that's kinda awkward. Can he not buy land somewhere else and simply rebuild a city anywhere else rather than Hawaii? Or is there a plan to make Lahaina a smart city? Maybe a city that could easily be compatible with Alexa. Is there a thing called smart cities going around where they are planning to control every single thing that happens in a city like that? Yes, it is. It is happening. There were advertisements going around that Hawaii will be one of the first smart cities that would ever exist. My, is this such a coincidence? I'm sorry, my friend, but I don't believe in coincidences. I'm a truther and not a regular NPC. We see everything that you are doing, and the people are waking up even faster after you have given the world a malicious vaccine. The people of Lahaina deserves justice, and it starts by removing this evil power that are running most of the governments today. Thank you for watching.